and Automotive and Mobility Cluster. Welcome, Olga.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
No problem. It's a pleasure, actually. Olga and myself, we met for a few years. We were lucky to meet also in person here in Barcelona in some of the meetings we have all across Europe. And we are just here to discuss some of the situations that we are having nowadays. I would say probably, Olga, if you agree, probably the most hot situation that we are managing those days, it's in the present, is all these changing on politics that we are having in Europe related to I would say, yeah, global warming and yeah, all related to sustainability. It seems like Europe is just kind of a stepping down on the all the regulation, on some of the regulations, and definitely is pulling back all this documentation required for the companies to fulfill all these yeah, regulations across. I think that was crazy for our companies, and I have some companies, they had to hire one two people just to fulfill documentation. That's crazy, especially for SMEs. They do not have those margins to be hiring extra people for that. And yeah, they talk about some reductions there. We'll see. And later on we can talk also, especially for these competitive compass that Europe just announced, right? Regarding the automotive industry, mobility industry in general, I would say, but they should have a high impact on the automotive industry. Um, it's crazy that we are just moving somehow backwards on that, but at the same time, is some relieving, isn't it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I do think that Ukrainian automotive and mobility sector also should be a part of this compass, competitiveness compass or competitiveness strategy of Europe. That's why for us it's more chance, to be more integrated into European mobility ecosystem.
Because in this politics that we are just preparing these yeah, like aids or financial instruments, Ukraine is not part of it.
Well, it is part of it, but in a bit different way, because we are not yet, the membership country. We are candidate country, and we are actually during the succession period. And we do have some, which called Ukraine facility.
Mhm.
And there are, of course, a lot of talks about it, and we have this Ukrainian recovery conference, which actually started already to be prepared, rebuild Ukraine, and so on and so forth. But definitely, this mobility sector should be also be kind of driving our economy. So this is a fact, because I'm sure both of us, we do understand that the automotive sector is kind of a barometer of economy,
Yes, it
for
is.
any economy. And of course, Ukraine is definitely will also pretend to be not just a subsidized country. We definitely would like to have a strong economy, and we pay a big price to be free and to be independent. And of course, the next step is to be economically independent. So
Mhm.
this is a point which we are also struggling for.
But I guess that if I hope that when these yeah, these instruments, economical instruments, that they are thought for European companies, once they start working, somehow they will benefit at the end of the line also to Ukrainian companies, right?
Sure, sure. Moreover, we are really looking forward for for straightening other supply chain. This policy nearshoring, not offshoring. So this definitely we would say as Ukraine, we are nearshore country and definitely could benefit from them. I mean, participate in this competitiveness program. Yeah, but also another question that it's also a question of new investments to Ukraine,
Mhm.
and for this, definitely, I mean, both parties, both countries could definitely gain some more business of it, you know.
So you're able to attract new investments to your country right now.
Well, good question, actually. Yes, we do.
Okay.
And also even in the automotive sector. So there are a lot of investments right now in other sectors,
Mhm.
which is probably more attractive right now. But for actually, you know, there are a lot of investments in defense sector.
Mhm.
But I also would like to say that there are also some investments or pre-investments negotiations for automotive sector.
Mhm.
Last year in November, we had this Ukrainian Automotive and Mobility Forum, which we organized by our cluster.
Mhm.
And we had also investors from Germany. And they're not just come and go, they're really proceeding, and they visited Ukraine several times after November 2024.
Mhm.
And right now, I think they're already in a step of negotiation. I mean, which place to choose, because
Mhm.
they you know, Ukraine is a big country,
It
so
is.
they travel around, and I think they already agreed the place to invest.
Right now here in Spain, and I think it's something happening all around Europe. I would say, even especially in Germany, there are, of course, there are huge numbers, sounding around defense. You mentioned that about security, sector or defense sector, military sector, and I don't know if it's your case, but we are seeing some of my associates, and when I spoke with my colleagues all around Spain, they also have the same experience that some of our companies are looking forward to enter the defense sector or military sector, because I mean we are not talking only about manufacturing weapons or bullets. We're talking about, clothes, food. There's many
Yeah.
areas where companies can contribute to that sector, and that's very clear. In Germany, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, they approved the highest budget for defense in the history, or the recent history of Germany. That's a huge numbers, and I'm seeing at the same time, probably same happening to you, but here in Spain at the same time, automotive industry is going down on demand, and at the same time defense is going up, or will go up on demand. And so some of our companies are approaching, are studying, or considering to move to this new, not new, this new, this growing sector. And it's quite concerning, to be honest. It's quite concerning.
I Well, it's
I mean,
difficult to
from
comment
the industrial
anything
point
on
of
it,
view,
you know.
yeah, yeah, from industrial point of
So,
view, I understand the movement, but it's concerning that this is happening,
yeah,
actually.
it's true. It's true. I mean, I could also comment from our side. Of course, without it, you know, without this rechanging or rethinking or replanning the path, it wouldn't be possible to survive. And you know that it was a plan, you know, to 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 stop the Ukraine as a country during 4 days, which didn't happen in 2022.
Mhm.
And one of the reasons why, exactly because most of our companies, and you're absolutely right, including textile company, food processing company, and other companies, they just start, you know, delivering and, you know, producing and delivering for defense purposes or
Well,
military purposes. This is one of the reasons why. I mean,
mhm,
of course, we are very thankful to all countries who supported us. But again, without our replanning of our production, it
mhm,
wouldn't be possible.
mhm. One of the things that I see, it's something happening. Not We are talking here about the sector. So some of the companies moving or expanding their sector, so they are not focused on automotive industry anymore, and they are moving to approach new sectors. They can use their know-how or capabilities to produce and to provide other sectors. But something similar is also happening on a geographical point of view. In our case, Spain is very close to Morocco, to north of Africa. So some of the companies are also thinking to move there to keep their production for automotive or other industries as well. So what I'm saying is this movement on looking for other sectors, looking for other territories, and yeah, it's quite a challenging time as we are as a cluster managers to support our companies on these movements, because at the same time we are trying to keep them alive, which is for me one of the most important things, because I mean they are the basis for, yeah, for other families to provide to the families, right, to be able to have a business, to have salaries, provide taxes to the politicians, to the administration, so for everything keep going. But at the same time, what we are if I look at all of these from another point of view, and sometimes I wonder that we are helping our companies to exit the automotive industry and exit our country at the same time, right? Not this dramatically, maybe it's not this dramatic, but somehow we are doing that. We are helping them to survive, even if this means to move to another country, or this means to move to another sector.
Well, it's a good question, but sometimes we could say even that it's also connected with policy and also philosophy, because we do remember how 20 years ago most of company moved to China,
Yeah.
and now. So, and we do remember that 30 years ago, China was in a level of medieval. And now, so right now, Europe is developing Africa. Good point, because for this reason, you will definitely have less, people without job in Africa. It's actually quite human, humanitarian question. But again, what will happen next in 10 years? This is a question. And if we are talking about competitiveness competitive Europe and competitiveness strategy of Europe in manufacturing, it means that we shouldn't really move far away the production sites. And we, of course, we do aware and we do know that there are a lot of automotive companies in Morocco, in Tunisia, in Egypt. It's a really kind of boom there, automotive boom there, and unfortunately not in Ukraine. So that's why we always try, to kind of, to offer also Ukraine as a partner for new investments, for new business. Because again, we are already considered to be a candidate country. I'm not sure that it would be possible for Tunisia and Morocco for next 10, 20 years.
Actually, we don't have to forget, as you already mentioned, we don't have to forget, in our case, Spain, few years ago, few decades ago, if you want, it was a low-cost country for Europe. So many companies from Germany, France, and north of Europe, they moved their production to Spain to be able actually to reduce costs, and that was what make Spain the second larger manufacturer on the automotive industry. So that's how we born somehow on the industrial automotive point of view. And also at the same time, many of our companies, they do not start working on the automotive industry. They came from, I don't know, from painting or plastic manufacturing or metal industry, from any other sector, and they decide to move to the automotive industry for different reasons, for the volumes, not the margins maybe, but for the volumes, the stability, the technology, definitely. So I think it's for us, at least for me, it's quite challenging to try to support all these movements that our industry is having, both geographically and sectorial. It's not easy to be there for the companies. And what I'm finding out is, I think somehow we need to look for the bigger picture. I mean, we cannot only be focused on, oh, no, I'm automotive industry and I'm only in Catalonia, so I don't want to hear anything about any other sector. I don't want to hear about any other region. I think we need to look to the bigger picture and look for the for the common ground, for the biggest benefit of let's talk of the industry from one side, but especially from the point of view of the society, whatever this means in the long term, because otherwise, I think the change is happening anyway. So if we can support it, we if we can, yeah, help happening, somehow it will benefit at the end of the day. Maybe we'll lose some of the industry, maybe we'll lose some of the partners, but I want to think that some other partners will pop up somehow. And yeah, I think the industry will keep being one of the strongest industry in Europe. I think this is something will not change. However, it's yeah, I think it's a fact, and it's commonly accepted that um, the electric vehicle has less component, it's easier to manufacture. Somehow it's going to be less people required for this industry in the long term, despite some other jobs will appear related to connectivity, artificial intelligence, etc. Probably more qualified jobs, and I think that's a challenge that we need to focus.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree. And moreover, thank you for your opinion. I also would say that right now we should think really broader, yeah, out of box, whatever, but really not only focused on costs, on costs, efficiency, and all the stuff, but also about really long-term impact. So
Mhm.
it's exactly what we should, as Europe pretend to be Europe, and with European values, so definitely should be long-term thinking, and probably impact thinking. And if we are thinking only about cost efficiency, so it will be just another curve, just another circle, but it will repeat the same. So this is I'm sure we should consider it.
Yeah, I think that that's a challenge for me. I was now. I've been discussing this topic many times with my colleagues here in Spain, and when with some of the colleagues at the EACN, at this platform that we have all around Europe. I think right now we have 30 something,
Yeah,
33, 34
yeah,
clusters, automotive clusters and mobility clusters all around Europe. One of the topics that we have been discussing is how to support all these movements. I mean, on the day-to-day activities, because for me, one of the focuses that we are been discussing with our team in the automotive industry cluster here in Catalonia, it's how what's our role here? What should be our focus? Because right now, we are a cluster that in the last few years we really focused on developing industrial projects, pilot projects, testing projects. But right now most of our companies, they are just waiting, kind of waiting for the new models to be launched. So the technology is there, the improvements on the factory are there. So the main thing that we are trying to we are waiting for is for the demand, right? So even if the European or Spanish or Catalan government supports economically new projects. Right now, yeah, providing demand to the electric vehicles or hybrid vehicles is the main focus that we need to provide. So in all this situation that we have, we realize, Olga, that probably one of the main things to do, one of the main topics to approach is information. Information. Our companies need information to make decisions. Information about production plans, SOPs, new models, technology. So information and preparing short reports, not 300 pages, not 100 pages, short reports, 3 4 pages reports that you can read in 15 minutes, something like that. That's one of our focuses. So we are trying to provide them with the best information available to support them to make good decisions, because they need to take decisions whether they like it or not, whether they feel they are ready or not. They need to make decisions on the day-to-day basis on hiring or firing people, or investing in new technology, or investing on, I don't know, molds or stamping or new machinery, whatever. they need to take those decisions, whether they feel they have enough information or not. So right now for us, this is one of the main activities that we are trying to accomplish, is providing the most accurate information. I don't know what's your, where are you focusing right now as a cluster, to support the companies in your country?
Good question. Well, information is of course the first. Yeah, and information, I would say also communication, yeah, which is a bit different topic, but still very, very important, you know. For us, of course, it's a very important thing to be, how to say, to be not only united, but to belong to some broader community, you know, and our participation in EACN or in exhibitions or in some fairs, it really add value to our companies, you know, because again, even when we providing some forums, you know, of course we invite speakers from abroad, from you know, and it's it's really important. But again, I would say, you know, just to distinguish a cluster from information agency. So we really trying. I mean, it's very pretended word, but still, we really trying to build a community. You
To
know,
build a community.
yeah. So this is also important. You know, not only to belong to European ecosystem, which is one of our actually strategic goal, which is our mission, but also to be community inside the country. You know, to be yeah, to have companies which are, how to say, share the values, and it's not only just words, but we really, when we accept new companies, we really somehow trying to assess if this company really have, you know, kind of shared values and really really could be, how to say, reliable to our community, you know. So this is the point which I would say, I mean, it's always changing, you know, there is nothing stable anymore. And not only in our country, but I would say in the whole world. So the whole situation, the whole order is in order, you know. So that's why I would say also about our cluster, it was changing from last years, and right now I really have my understanding that we are really trying to stay with companies and newcomers who is really share our understanding of doing business, understanding of cooperation, understanding of our common goals.
And let me ask you, how are you working on? I mean, on the day-to-day activities, how are you working these building communities, these shared values? What do you do to create that? That's very interesting, Olga.
Well, well, uh, you know, as far as everybody's overloaded right now in Ukraine because of the lack of everything, you know, so it's quite difficult to say how and how we do it on a daily basis. But it's happening, you know, even when we have online meetings, even if we participate in some events, even if we do something together, even if we, you know, I don't know, going to study visit or organize forum or participate in a conference or just exchange experience or just, you know, because sometimes they're just finding, we have a lot of cross cooperation inside the cluster between our members. And it's also quite interesting because we didn't thought that it could be interesting, you know. We have our e-learning platform, and when companies have a possibility to learn, and actually their staff also have a possibility to learn for, you know, for free, and it's automotive topics. So there are, it's interesting, you know, with my perfectionism and maximalism, I would say we don't work enough, but yeah, we do
There's
what
many
we
things to
can do.
do. There's
Yes.
many things to do
Yeah,
always,
it's
right?
true. It's true.
Yeah, that's right. I think building community is a huge thing, to be honest. But for me right now, to be honest, it's difficult to rely or to yeah to rely on this building community, because what I mentioned before, I feel that right now companies are looking to move out our territory, or at least have subsidiaries outside. Companies are also looking for another sectors different than us, and yeah, somehow it's not for me sharing values. I think that's something that can unite us, but the cross collaboration, it's 100% as well. But I somehow I feel that everyone is trying to look for their own solution, and especially if I look on what's happening on the United States right now with Trump in the administration, what we see right now is a focus on somehow nationalism, right? So they focus on their territory, and I don't want to hear what's happening outside, so I'm going to focus on mine. And somehow I'm worried about something similar happening here in Europe. If everyone here in Europe, I don't know, Spain is looking for themselves, France, Germany, Italy, everyone looking for themselves, that could be the end of the European community as we know nowadays, right? So maybe you in the future you don't want to join the economic Europe in the future if we were not able to keep it. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
something that it's quite concerning. To be honest, I appreciate the changes they are doing right now to reconsider some of the decisions they made in the past, as on the sustainability and circularity and all the regulations related to um, yeah to this topic. But at the same time, I'm concerned if really we are on time to come back from those decisions that had been made, because I was talking to an expert, or yeah, I would say an expert on geopolitical topics few months ago, and he felt that maybe we are at point that there's no coming back from that. So I don't know if we are still able to save the industry in Europe, to be honest. I'm not talking specifically on the automotive industry, but I'm talking industry in general, because we really have some big challenges that we need to face. And I'm not sure that we are brave enough to face those challenges from the administration point of view, I mean. And the companies, they are taking decisions to survive, whether it's automotive industry or moving to another industry, whether it's in the territory or moving outside the territory. So that's no questions about that. But here in Spain, we are debating to reduce the how many hours we are working on a week. And some friend just, I think it was yesterday, a friend sent me yeah, like a report on well balanced life between job and personal life. I would say Spain was number two. I would say,
Oh,
oh my
really?
God,
Wow.
how are you gonna survive that, right? Because I love that Spain's number. I don't know how reliable are the funds on that, right? The information on that, but I would say Spain has a quite good balance, but I'm not sure that we'll survive on the industry point of view if we keep in those directions, because from the human resources point of view, on the meetings that we are having in the cluster, it's getting harder and harder and harder to move, to navigate these legal yeah, improvements. Let's say improvement. There should be improvements that we are having, and that's a challenge for our industry. Yeah, big challenge, Olga. Yeah,
I would fully agree. I only, I do share all your concerns. I didn't know that that you speak it loudly. Of course, we have a democracy and so on, but still. But I could only add that from my point of view, it's quite looks like done on purpose. This ancient quote, divide and conquer. So it's really, really looks quite pretty as it is.
yeah,
Uh, I really hope and I really pray that it wouldn't happen,
Mm.
but it looks like it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. For us, managing information right now, as I mentioned before, is probably the most the most important topic right now. And I would like to ask you, because you made a difference between information and communication. How is it different for you? How is it working that different for you? Can you elaborate on that?
Ooh, I actually am not from this theory point of,
No.
but okay, just my understanding that information you just inform. It's one way,
Okay, okay.
so you're just inform and good if you have feedback. Not okay. Communication is definitely should be both ways, and you always
Okay, okay.
change your way of communication depending on a feedback, depending on a needs, depending on a for everything what is going on. And this is my perception of difference of
No,
information
I
and
understand.
communication.
So you
And
mean your focus is not only to provide information, but also to listen
exactly,
what's happening.
exactly,
Mm,
exactly.
mm,
And to integrate my communication, our communication, sorry, yeah, I mean, not only mine, but our communication as a cluster with communication of, I don't know, of ecosystem, of
mhm.
environment, and in this case, it's not just informing. So I do understand that probably, it's always, I'm sure you also have such a, concern, so I don't know, hesitation. What is your cluster manager role on what is not?
Mm.
And this is always difficult to prescribe because we never had kind of job description or whatever. So we're just driving it, we're just leading it, we're just doing it. And this is also quite difficult, that's why we never could say, as I love this theory of work and life balance.
Yeah, yeah.
It simply doesn't work with me, but I love this theory, and it's the same with the cluster management. We would be happy to say, oh, it's not my business, so I'm just a cluster manager.
Yeah.
But in reality, sometimes you faced with some challenges or some questions which probably you shouldn't do, but still. So it's
You
always,
do it anyway, right?
yeah, and again, this is the way, either you go or not. So
Mhm.
it's not easy way, and I'm absolutely agree. It becomes harder and harder, and it's always, something inside trying to say, does it worse or does it need it, and so on. So this is my always concern. But then you see, yes, it is needed. So which means yes, which means it's a communication. But
Mm.
really, well, probably you have similar thoughts about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, cluster manager is a kind of a learning by doing, right? You go doing and you learn at the same time. Yeah, so sometimes I joke with my colleagues in my class and other classes that probably our job as a cluster manager, it's a 50-50 you attend the official aspects, the working groups, the projects, the trade shows, conferences, so this official part, and the other 50% of your time you work on a individual situations of your companies. Today I had two, three meetings with three different companies with a very particular problem, every and each of them, and trying to find a specific solution for them. So, of course, that officially what we do should be as as global as possible, as useful as possible for most of our members, of course, but that's the official part of our job, right? We try to create workshops and webinars and attending trade shows and providing information to the administration to help the massive number of our companies possible. But at the same time, our other job at the same time is to provide with individual situations that could be looking for a supplier on defense, as we mentioned before. It could be solving a financial problem with a financial institution, right? Or it could be having some problems to export a product or import a product, and you have to try to help them with the right contact to do that. So there's a, yeah, it's a kind of a 50-50 job that we have there. And I would say for the first part, we can rely mostly on our teams. I'm helpful to, yeah, and I'm grateful to have an awesome team working with us, and I can rely on them a lot on this 50% common ground for most of our members. But for the one-to-one situation with the companies, most of the time you just rely on your contacts, on your, yeah, your the phone calls that you can do, and always it's a different situation. So you learn a lot, you definitely learn a lot. But I don't know, it happens to you, but for me, most of the time it's a new situation that I never faced before. So it's not like, oh yeah, I know this one because last week I did the same. No, no
No,
way.
never.
uh, I would say one every 10, so
Yeah.
10% of the time, maybe a situation that I faced in the past, but 90% of the time they are new situations because they are very particular for every company. Yeah, yeah, they need a special contact or situation. I don't know if that happens to you as well, Olga.
For sure. I do not have any repeated, or what we do not, we never have rehearsal, and we never have any repeating situation. So this is, everything is new, and we have already jokes. Either is really could be something worse. Yes, it could, but but it doesn't mean that we do not have any any light, any promising in the future.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That I would say that that's one of the biggest challenges because, as you mentioned before, there's no. I mean, there are some trainings for becoming a cluster manager. Actually, in our cluster last year, we were able to get the gold label approval.
Congratulations!
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It was a team effort. I was
Wow.
there only for the I would say for the presentation and defending the case. But the team made, especially Elena and Christina, they made an awesome job. And of course, the rest of the team preparing all the best cases and documentation and everything. It was an amazing job. It took us a few months to prepare,
Wow.
and somehow all this job, I would say it reflects the day-to-day activities. This first 50% that we mentioned before. So you have some guidelines for the 50% of our job, which is provide the vast resources, connections, activities for the most of our members. I would say you get some guidelines for that. You can get the gold, silver, bronze label for that. But for the other 50%, which is one today facing situations, you get no training, no preparation, and I would say most of the time you get no reward for that neither.
Fully agree. In our case, really, most of work it's volunteering work, and you never can understand. Of course, we do have some projects, and yeah, but in real life,
Yeah,
and it started like also a kind of volunteering initiative, in the
yeah,
beginning.
yeah. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing because most of the times when you deal with these one-to-one situations, they are very critical. Of course, you cannot advertise it anywhere, and in the best of cases, everything goes right, so everything looks perfect, and you spend a lot of hours helping them. They spend a lot of hours, of course, to survive, but at the end of the day, from the outside, it looks like nothing happened, right?
Yeah.
That and that's the best outcome, that everything keeps going. Last year, for instance, we had 4 5 companies that left our cluster because they decide to close their activity here in the region.
Mm.
That's industry. That's not able. That's not easy to replace it with new startups. Especially, I don't know in your country, but here in Barcelona, I would say in Spain, but especially in Barcelona, which is the one I know the best. most of the startups that we are having, they are technological startups. They are not industrial startups, right?
It's
And
true.
so when an industrial company closes, it's very hard to reopen. We have few exceptions. We have a nice project in the, I don't know if you remember, but at the same time of the pandemic, there were three big companies they decide to close their activity here in our region, which was Nissan. That was a huge impact. Nissan closing the activity, also Bosch and Continental. And I'm very happy to share with you that right now the old facilities from Nissan, they are being used for a new OEM project, which is a
Uh,
joint venture between a Chinese company and a local project. And they keep their own brand. So it's Cherry from the Chinese
mhm,
OEM,
mhm.
and a national project which is called Evro, which used to be a very old brand here in Spain, and they relaunching the brand, and they are just preparing. They have two new models, so we have a new OEM here, two new OEMs in
Yeah,
actually very small units, very small quantities so far. The Chinese OEM, it's just importing almost everything right now,
I
but
understand.
gladly, maybe hopefully in the near future we will be able to provide with some components from from local suppliers. So there are some exceptions to that rule I was mentioning, but not most of the cases. Industrial companies that close, they are not replaced by new industrial startups or spin-off or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Are you having growing industry in your region, Olga?
Uh, Good question. No, we don't. Uh,
Do you
but
think you will have it in the future?
yes, of course. We do a lot for that, and yes, again, we pay in very high price for that. Uh, yeah, and I still think that it's a really quite huge potential in our country for that, because we still have this, companies who have the highest KPIs, the best KPIs among their holding
Mhm.
among other companies, and also quality awards, so, and this is industrial culture, this kind of competence. It's quite difficult to replace with African companies,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I do understand that it's probably not the rocket science, but still, when you have it on kind of heritages, industrial
Mhm.
culture for for 100 years, it's quite difficult to be replaced. So that's why I
Yeah.
still do believe in manufacturing potential of Ukraine, and of course automotive potential of Ukraine. And
Mhm.
again, our market is growing. This is the fact. This is the fact. So the market is growing year by year, and
You mean internal market?
yeah, automotive market. I mean, new cars,
Awesome.
buying new cars or second-hand cars, but also new cars. It's increasing. The amount of electro cars, it's really increasing. The
Awesome.
increase of electro cars, it's even higher than in average in Europe.
Is it?
It
Whoa.
is, yeah, it is. It is. Uh, this is the facts, This is the facts. I wouldn't say, unfortunately, that we do have a new OM yet, but hopefully, but our OM, which exists, our Skoda production cars, it's they're in a good shape. I mean,
Mhm.
they're producing every day and they're delivering products every day.
That's awesome. Are you feeling that these new industrial companies will be Ukrainian companies growing up, or you feel it's more like investors that arrive? I mean, international companies coming to Ukraine to invest and set up production plants there.
Both ways, and even third way when it could be a joint venture, as you described right now. So I'm sure it could be possible in all these ways. because we do have, of course, 100% Ukrainian companies who actually don't have any plan to be sold or to be, invested by somebody else. And they feel quite good, and they have growth in their production side, they have growth in their sales and so on. We have foreign companies who are delivering again their products every day to European companies, to European OEMs, and definitely it could be a joint venture. Actually, we do have joint ventures also in Ukraine who are also doing quite well. So this is all possibilities,
So you're looking forward to receive an OEM in your region.
Yes, we do.
Awesome,
do.
awesome. Do you participate somehow on those negotiations or presentations as a cluster?
Well, right now there is no ongoing negotiations, but actually, yes, somehow we even trying to connect. So this is usual cluster work, and yeah, this month, in March we were invited actually to do kind of our panel discussion in a conference, in a forum which we organized by Ministry of Economy, and it was exactly about new strategy development. So,
Awesome.
which means, would it be considered as participation? Probably yes, because we are personally were invited. It was a separate panel for our cluster with our cluster members, and yeah, as a result, they also, we gave our proposition for the country strategy, for the strategy of our country, and how we will be involved or not in negotiations, I do not know, because it's very, very clear. But we do have already our voice. This is important.
That's very interesting.
Before
That's
we
very
didn't
interesting.
have.
I think Yeah, I think you as a cluster can play a major role there. Maybe you will not get too much recognition there or credit there, but I think you can play a very important role there because when we are approached by new investors that for the region, we try to go hand to hand with the administration. And one of the most things that I would say the most important thing that new investors are looking forward, one is, of course, money from the administration, no questions about that. But the other one is all the ecosystem there, right? If there are universities, there are technological centers, suppliers, providers, etc., etc. So to have this big picture, it's very important for a new investment, and no one as a cluster can provide that information better. So I think that you have a very important role to play.
I think so too. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's a huge play that we need to just be there, provide information, the right information, and try to support making those decisions. We received in the last 2-3 years a lot of potential investors from Japan, China, United States, and also from a few other countries in Europe as well, but or Korea, yeah, Korea especially. Yeah, I think it's very important to keep this ongoing flow of potential investors, and time to time few of them will decide to come and yeah, use your territory, your area, to maybe acquire, maybe to buy, purchase a production plant, maybe just to greenfield and start all over from scratch. But either way, I think it's very important because being able to attract to receive new investors, that's awesome. That's an awesome job. I'm very happy that you're participating in that, Olga. I think it's very important. No, I mean it's very important for your region.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. This is our way to survive and to develop our economy, to make it stronger. It is clear.
Mhm. Let me ask you, what about labor? Do you have any problems or challenge about human resources, being able to have enough people in your production plants right now?
Well, we used to say that no, we do have a lot, but right now I wouldn't say so. It wouldn't be truth. And yes, we do have actually, I would say we do have the same challenges as in Europe. Just the reason another, just
Yeah,
with another reason. But yes, we do have already lack of skilled and reskilled workforce.
you have it.
Yeah, we do have it.
Is
But
some people returning to
yes,
Ukraine that they
yes,
left? It's already happening.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So it's but you know again it's because we have a big reason for that, and the war situation and the war economy. It's also clear that it's also concerning mobilization of people and also retaining of people and also moving of people, relocation of people. So if it was at the beginning of the full-scale invasion, there were a lot of internal movement of
Hmm.
people
Hmm.
from eastern part of Ukraine, which is actually with a long history of industrial culture,
I
because
remember that.
many
Yeah.
many people were working in a plant and they moved to a western part. So all and most of international, I mean, foreign automotive companies are located in the western part because of logistics. So they were very happy of that because they had very motivated staff, very competent staff with a long history of working in industrial plants. So it was really good. Right now, the situation is changing. I
Hmm.
mean, it's a next challenge which we are trying to survive. So that's why I mean, but still, all our companies are delivering their products. And again, this 2 weeks ago, we had a conference and we had a general manager of the Leone company who said that we didn't broke delivery
Whoa, that's amazing.
any delivery during
That's
all these
amazing.
3 years.
Whoa, whoa.
So
That's incredible. That's incredible that your companies are doing those job and you can support them on doing it. On doing it. Do you think that it? I remember the most of the industrial activity from the automotive industry was on the western part. But do you think the east part is going to recover from the situation that you have, or do
yes,
you think so?
definitely
Definitely.
yes. Moreover, there are big industrial cities as Dnipro, Zaporizhia, my home city Kharkiv. Actually, first of all, there are production sites in these cities which are working every day,
They are
which are
working.
delivering every day. Yeah, it's
Amazing.
unbelievable, but it is. There are missiles attacks every day, but companies are working every day. And of course, such cities which are, how to say, not everyday missiles attacks as Dnipro. It's very big industrial hub, and again, they do have 500,000 internally relocated people from other regions, which
Half a
means,
million.
yeah,
Oh,
and when we saw the statistic of last year, we were also very surprised. So this is the region number one on exporting their products, on
the east
industry.
region is the number one.
Yes, in
No.
east,
Wow.
in Dnipro, so just in a border with the front line, and they're number one. They're number one in industrial production. They're number one in exporting products and so on. So that's why we are not talking about recovery. We are working there. So
Just
I
keep
mean,
the production. Amazing.
yes,
I
yes.
wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, to be honest. It's
Yeah.
shocking for me, that
Yeah,
information.
it's true. It's true. And
Wow.
and and in Kharkiv, there are working companies and even automotive companies. So yes, some of them have already another, kind of backstage or mirror production in other city, but it doesn't mean that they stop the production in Kharkiv. So the production in Kharkiv are still working. This is really amazing, and this is
It is.
really
It is.
resilient stories. When we are talking about resilience, we definitely have a lot to say about it. How not to lose the quality, how not to lose people, how to deliver every day, even if there are missiles attacks and so on. So we do have also companies from our cluster who are really not far from the front line and delivering every week to 5 different countries and to really huge and big, big customers.
Awesome. And let me ask you, what is the kind of requirement that you receive from those companies? What do they need? What do they ask you to support them? The most common topics. I mean,
Well, it's it would be difficult to generate, and I'm still not sure that I really do a lot of support, with my understanding of support and so on. But I let's say like this: I receive a lot of thank you from
I'm sure you
companies,
do. I'm sure you
from
do.
from from companies for our e-learning platform, for our actually first of all for our existence, that we exist, for our ambassadoring among in Europe, to
Mhm.
presenting the industry, to presenting automotive industry in Europe. This is definitely, and of course for our e-learning platform, for
Mhm.
our kind of meeting on we did kind of development of resilience plans or other stuff, so this is also valuable, including when we do our automotive forum,
Mhm.
and it was also very interesting feedback even during the forum, that exactly such a offline events in Ukraine
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
participation of foreign companies, with a lot of information and communication and networking, matchmaking, and so on and so
Was
forth.
that
It
online
was
or
it was offline. It was
offline? So
offline.
present.
Yes, it was in
Oh,
Lviv.
amazing. Where do you
Exactly.
host this event?
It was in Lviv.
Okay.
Yeah, and for them again, they said that it's very valuable.
It
Kind of. Sorry to say, but it's also not only information exchange; it's also energy exchange.
is. Mhm.
And this is exactly what people also need. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, okay, my friend. I think we are close to the 1 hour line. That it's not mandatory to, but I think it was very interesting to share with you those insights. And I would say if anyone wants to contact you, we can provide your contact
Oh,
information. Right? I
oh.
can say from my own experience that you are very open-minded about collaboration and finding opportunities everywhere. So we're trying this year again to fulfill that European project that we prepared last year. So let's hopefully had more luck this year with the project. And I would encourage anyone who wants to collaborate with you guys from Ukraine to contact Olga. It was very nice exchange that we had in the last few years. And personally, I would say that your companies can get any luckier to have you there at front of the class. I mean it. I mean it, Olga. I think your effort and your resistance and resilience, it's amazing. I think you're doing an amazing job. So thank you very much, Olga, and we stay in touch. Okay.
Thank you. And just not to forget, you were the first actually cluster and the first cluster manager who organized on 7th of March 2022 the event with automotive clusters and automotive companies. And the topic was the war and, this full-scale invasion into Ukraine.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And I do remember that you started with a minute of silence. It really impressed me a lot that time, and actually, it gave me a lot of internal energy to proceed what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
collaboration. Collaboration is the key. You mentioned that before.
Yes,
Olga,
thank
thank
you.
you very much for your time, and everyone else, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and keep doing. We will be continuing in the next topic. Thank you very much. Take care.